This one's gonna get me in trouble, I can feel it. A lot of pastors in modern churches, not all, but a lot, are in satanic cults. They're reptilian. There's a lot of problems, and I'm gonna show you a clip where this girl tells a very interesting story.
This girl said that she went to her grandmother's funeral and the preacher at the funeral was some type of weird evil entity. So in June of 2024, Elizabeth's grandmother passes away, and they always use the same home for their funeral homes for their family because they always do such a good job and they're always so kind. But this time, not so much. Because of this, she will never go back to an open casket funeral again. It was a small service. It was just her and her family and those who were close to her grandmother. Her grandmother wanted it to be small. Upon walking in, Elizabeth and her husband walk right up to the casket to say their goodbyes. She was blown away by what she was seeing. Her grandmother looked like a stranger. She had so much makeup caked on her face, and her grandmother never wore makeup, so she just kind of wrote it off as it was something she wasn't used to. Then she realized that they could see the caps underneath her eyes and the skin peeling off of her lips. It was so bad that her mother asked the funeral director to please fix it, and they tried fixing it and they couldn't fix it. Nothing worked, so they ended up just asking them to make it a closed casket. Now, like, that wasn't bad enough. This next part is wild. So as they're starting the service, the pastor walks up, he gets started, and they don't know anything about this guy. So he's reading the script that her mother made for her grandmother about the life that she lived, and he's speaking very softly. But while this is going on, Elizabeth is getting a really weird feeling. She's staring at this pastor, but she cannot take her eyes off of him. Like, it's like an invisible force is intervening and not allowing her to take her eyes off of him. She said that she's never felt anything like it before. And while she's staring at him, he's staring at her, but he's staring at her intently. Like, it feels like he's staring into her soul, she said. He continues talking. He's mid-sentence while staring at her. He blinks. He opens his eyes back up, and what felt like an eternity, but was only a second, she sees his eyes turn black and then these yellow slits in them, like kind of like a cat. He blinks again and it's gone. And she is like in shock at this point. She's like, what did I just see? So she's rubbing her teary eyes because she was crying, thinking that maybe she just imagined it. She's looking around the room like, did anyone else see this? But she doesn't see any reactions. So at the end of the service, her and her husband go to leave and they're walking out and they're both very quiet. Now, her husband is a skeptic, so she doesn't want to say anything at first. She's too scared at this point. She has to say something. So she starts to say, when the pastor was speaking, his eyes, he just cuts her off and goes, don't say it, don't say it. And then he goes, my jaw dropped to the floor. He then tells her, I think that's demonic. Now, this is a skeptic, mind you. And he's saying, I think we need to pray. I think we need to pray right now. So they pray together in the car on the way home and they never speak about it again. The next morning, she gets a call from her sister, and her sister tells her that her niece, her 14-year-old niece, had nightmares all night long and that she was coming into her room crying. And then her sister's like, and she's talking about something completely insane. So Elizabeth is like, what? What did she say? And she's like, she said that the pastor's eyes did something scary during the service. Her 14-year-old niece saw it too. At this point, she's like, this is real. This person wasn't human, or something in him was not human. So she tries searching his name up on the internet and she cannot find any information on this guy. He's not associated with any church. So she's finally like, Mom, where did you get this guy? And she's like, the funeral home recommended him.
The only thing in the Bible that functions how modern churches do were literally the synagogues, which we know, you know what I mean? Like, the only churches that were like Christian churches in the Bible were in the New Testament in Acts, when they were doing home churches where all of the believers participated and everybody like developed their gifts and there was an elder overseeing things. The way that modern churches operate is exactly like the Pharisees, and the seminaries are literally just the Sanhedrins. The Roman Catholic Church runs all of the churches, and it's like we've all forgotten that, like Roman Catholic Church. But anyways, so the synagogue of Satan, okay? Almost every time that Jesus talks to the Pharisees, he calls them serpents, you brood of vipers. Like, he's talking face to face and calling them different things that have to do with reptiles. I feel like a lot of Christians think that like synagogues and Pharisees have to be Jewish, and that's just not the case. The modern version of synagogues and Pharisees are most modern churches. They're not following the Bible. They're enforcing man-made traditions. Like, people have like a cognitive dissonance surrounding the idea of like the warnings that we got from the Pharisees. They think because we accept Christ that then you can do the same things just with Christ implanted, and that's not at all true. So if the Pharisees were serpents and the churches now are just like the Pharisees.
I don't need to debate any Christian. I was a Christian. I am a Muslim. If you want, I can give you both sides, easy. But he will ask you if you delivered the message. I'll play both parts. I'll be the Christian and tell you this, and then I'll be the Muslim and give the answer.
So if anyone's ever read the book He Came to Set the Captives Free by Rebecca Brown, she used to be a high priestess in the Satanic Church, and she like came out of it and became Christian, and she wrote about her experiences. I think that they knocked her off before her next book came out, but that's another conversation. She talks about how a lot of the people that were in the satanic cult would be like doing the sacrifices Saturday night and like all the stuff that they do, and then they would laugh because Sunday morning they'd be at the church preaching and or teaching CCD. And it's a hard conversation to have, but it's a truthful one in many cases. Not all. I don't need to hear the comments about like, it's not everybody, because I understand that. We need to think about how a lot of pastors get in trouble. They don't really get in trouble for pedophilia, okay? And when they get caught doing it, nothing ever happens to them. We as Christians know that the world does not like Christianity, so the church isn't getting a special pass because like the world loves Christianity. They're getting a special pass because I think it's probably ritualized evil behaviors that they get away with because guess what? The police and everybody else is also in the satanic cult.
My career in law enforcement, I actually joined the Brotherhood of Freemasons.
How'd you get into that? How'd you get into that?
Man, a lot of cops are involved with that.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It is. 95% of them do. You know what I mean?
What's the benefit out of it? Like,
biblical history.
oh, okay.
What intrigued me the most was they talked about King Solomon's temple and the Holy of Holies, and I've always been intrigued by it.
So this actually exists?
Yes, it does. It's the occult. It's not going to be messing with.
They have all types of connections. It lines up a little too perfectly for me, especially because that's exactly what her book details. I'm paraphrasing, but she said something to the effect of like, they would all joke and say that the police were their dogs. And she got really deep into the details about how like the reason that they do it is not only for like the laughs of it, but they have to know scripture really, really well. So they have to serve as ministers for at least, I think she said like 2 to 3 years in a regular standard church before they can be priests in the occult. So who knows? Are they reptilian and in the occult? Are they separate and just both doing it? I don't know. But people ask me all the time, like, what kind of church do I go to? I don't. I do a home church with a small group, and I study my Bible every single day, and I have a personal relationship with God. I don't like putting things through a filter, because to me it's like, it's my relationship with God. I don't have somebody else orchestrating my relationship with my mom or dad. So why, you know what I mean? Like, why would I need to have somebody else do that with the most important relationship in my life? I don't, you don't. We have access to the Bible. And I also keep the Saturday Sabbath, which is what God commanded. Rome changed it to Sundays. If you have a really good church and there's no like issues, you don't feel like anything's off and they're biblically accurate, definitely stay there. But for me, just too many things that are like